Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management, joined by Tom Parks, Director of Retirement Plan Services, Annex Wealth Management. Welcome back.
Hey, Danny.
According to FINRA, the average number of investment choices in 401k plans between 8 and 12. Now, that seems low to me, but we're not going to argue with them, are we?
Close enough for this discussion.
Options in investments for 401ks typically include a mix of mutual funds, target date funds, index funds, bond funds, sometimes employer stock. There are a couple notable exclusions, Tom, and the first is ETFs. And how come?
Obviously there are exceptions to what we're talking about here, but broadly speaking, when you look at retirement plans, you're going to find things like mutual funds, collective investment trusts, and similar investments, because those are priced once a day after the market has closed. So when you look at some of these big providers, they're managing money for literally millions of people and hundreds of billions, if not over $1 trillion in some cases. That's a lot of people and a lot of money. And so with ETFs and stocks and things like that trade, they fluctuate in value throughout the day. Tracking all of that stuff from a record-keeping technology perspective is just, it's not practical. So you look at things that are priced once a day, broadly speaking.
Choices you don't see in a 401k. The first one there is ETFs, and the second is cryptocurrency. Now, for some in the audience, it's a mystery investment. Tons of news coverage, lots of buzz, piles of confusion, plenty of skepticism.
All of those things, Danny. Yes. And even more now.
And to others, it is seen as a pathway to riches, or at least the moon. Crypto millionaires have been created and destroyed by the volatility of a currency. It's very much a modern phenomenon that has been debated and argued over for as long as it's been around.
It really took off, Danny, in 2020 when Bitcoin in particular. So when we talk about cryptocurrencies, there are tons and tons of them out there. Most people think Bitcoin right away because that's the big one. And it really started to go up in value in around 2020 and has been on a wild ride ever since. This discussion has become more acute just in the past few years.
Now, that might be changing with some news that broke recently. What's going on?
When we talk about cryptocurrency in retirement plans, there was guidance from the Employee Benefit Securities Administration back in 2022, in a way discouraging plan fiduciaries from offering cryptocurrencies in retirement plans for a variety of reasons. That guidance was recently rescinded. They did not say, we therefore endorse doing this or anything like that. All they did was say, we're going to take away our suggestion that you avoid doing that.
Can of worms, Pandora's box. Is this going to put companies in a tough position when some of their employees want a crypto option in their portfolio, even though some of the wisest investing minds are undecided and they're suspicious? Wouldn't it be their right? They can make the decision?
So, Danny, I've already been asked this question in an employee meeting, so it didn't take long. I don't know that it puts people in a tough spot, because it's ultimately the plan fiduciary's responsibility to decide what they're going to put into the retirement plan. And one of the guidance that you get from the Department of Labor is that when it comes to fiduciary's responsibility, one of them is to minimize the risk of large losses. And that's where, when you start looking at the fluctuations in cryptocurrency, people will say, yeah, but it's up now. And it's like, yeah, it's up now, but it was down, and it was up, and it was down. So depending on how you look at that volatility, it's something that people just need to be careful about. Yes, it'll put them in a tough spot because there are going to be more conversations, but, whatever. We're all big people, so we got to deal with tough spots. That's life.
This is also the asset that people have, came up with the phrase HODL, which is hold on for dear life, right?
That's right, Danny. And, I think that's the thing you look at. Is that the sort of thing you want to have as the foundation for your retirement planning, is kind of the question.
I don't know if I've ever asked this. How does a company decide on what to offer in their 401k?
I am glad that you asked that question, because there are some baseline industry best practices. It'll come down to the platform that you're working on, what's available, because most platforms, while very, very expansive from an investment offering perspective, they're still limited. You've got that consideration. But then it comes down to your workforce and what type of workforce do you have. You want to have a broad enough suite of offerings that there's something there for everyone, but you also don't want to go overboard and have, 8 million things, because then you've got paralysis by analysis and all that stuff. So it depends. There's some basic foundations, but it's going to vary from one player to the next.
Let's wrap this one up. What is your bottom line thinking on crypto in a 401k? It's a guy who's been doing this for a long time.
Yes, I don't have anything against cryptocurrencies personally, but there are certain investments that, in my opinion, just do not belong in a 401k plan. You and I talked about private equity a little while ago. That's an ongoing conversation. But narrowly focused sector funds, art is a legitimate investment. I don't think a 401k plan is the right place for that. So I kind of put cryptocurrencies in that category, not appropriate for 401k plans, at least not for now, and I don't think necessarily anytime soon. The other thing is, Danny, I did a Google search looking for crypto mutual funds. There are very few in existence, so there aren't even really that many to pick from in the first place. So that is a naturally limiting factor as well.
Company owners, CFOs, HR professionals need a little help designing and navigating your company 401k. Tom and his team ready to roll.
Always here and looking forward to some fun, Danny.
Tom Parks, Director of Retirement Plan Services, Annex Wealth Management. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny.